fight fans, James Smith from In This Corner for Fight Now TV from the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Saturday night, the rematch, Manny Pacquiao and Tim Bradley. Everybody expects this to be a close, competitive fight with a lot of strategy. Now, when it comes to strategy, the two fighters will call upon their trainers, Freddie Roach for Manny Pacquiao and Joel Diaz for Timothy Bradley. Here's what they think about Saturday night's fight. When we first sat down with Manny and you in, 2004, 20-some-odd fights ago, I remember you saying that one of the most difficult things with him was to hold him back, because he wanted to stay in the gym and work so. How is he now at age 35? Has he learned to pull back and taper back a little bit?
No, he hasn't. I had to pull him off the track this morning, and we're going for a little shakeout this afternoon when we work out. But I told him really, really light, and he just smiles at me, and he doesn't know what light means, So his work ethic is really good. He's still a tremendous athlete, and his work rate is still on fire.
One of the things I mentioned to him yesterday is the fact that, and I know you appreciate this, so many fighters in between fights go up in weight, they don't work out. Manny and Floyd and Bernard and a few others are the guys that you never see him out of shape. How important do you think that has been for him he's obviously been active, but to stay in condition in between fights, for him to be fighting at 35 at such a high level?
Yeah, these guys are something special. I mean, they take care of themselves in between fights, and a lot of guys put too much weight on. Like Timothy Bradley goes up to like 165 and so forth. That's a lot of weight to drop and so forth. It's not the funnest thing in the world to do, and I think it's very important to stay in shape, to keep your body close to fighting weight, and then this way you don't have that such a struggle making weight and so forth. Like Bradley, he has to go on a vegan diet to make weight and so forth. That vegan diet, I just don't think that can be healthy. It's just not enough proteins and carbs, but it's worked for him so far. But I think it'll catch up with him sooner or later.
I think on our rankings I have Floyd 1, Andre 2, Timothy 3. He's right up there in that mix. What I like so much about him, too, is I see a lot of old school in Tim Bradley that we don't see in fighters coming up, which obviously you're to be given credit for that. A lot of subtleties. I see Archie Moore stuff, and I won't go back to Charlie Burley, but we see a lot of old school in Tim. What does he do best as a fighter?
That he listens. He listens, and he's always visualizing. Timothy is a fighter that he zones out. Even in training, when he's training, he's not the type of fighter that he's talking to everybody. You can talk to him and listening, but he don't talk back. He's visualizing. And he visualizes in the gym, so when he goes to the fight, he's already visualizing the fight.
So focus.
He's very focused. Timothy is a fighter that is always very focused.
Let's go back and talk about the first fight. Round number 2, Tim hurts I think it was his left leg, and then round number 4 is right. Did you realize how serious those injuries were when they were taking place?
I do take in consideration when my fighter tells me something happens, especially when he tells me, hey, coach, I think I broke my ankle. Why? Because he never complains. He never complains about pain. He never complains about anything. And that night, I knew it was severe because he told me. And just by the look in his face, because he was in such pain that he was putting his face down. He was like going down, and I would lift his head up, tell him, come on, get up, ignore the pain. And I knew he was in pain. I knew it was severe. But I see that his adrenaline was pumping and he was moving. He was okay. He wasn't getting hurt, by Manny. I'm always there for my fighters to the point where if I see that he's injured and if I see that he's getting hit a lot to the point where he can't continue, I would automatically stop the fight. The distractions of pain are big distractions. And that day he was holding on to pain and trying to ignore the pain and trying to follow up the game plan. It was two things at once, and it was really hard. And that's why I know that this time around is going to be different.
I was asked by so many people after the Marquez knockout, would it affect Manny? And I said, physically, not at all. It was one punch in a fight that he was winning. But I thought mentally, maybe Manny would be less committal. And I like the way he fought against Rios because it was a bigger guy and he won easy. But he was to me it was more like he was punching at his opponent and not through his opponent. Perhaps is that something perhaps that we may just see with him now, that he might be less committal and go more on his skills?
Rios is a big, strong guy. We didn't want to jump into a little bit too soon. Didn't try to finish him because he did hurt him a couple times, but I thought he could have stepped it up a little bit. But the thing is, he fought a very smart fight, and the thing is, he didn't make that same mistake he made in the Marquez fight because we paid dearly for that, and we're 1 minute away from maybe knocking the other guy out, and we walk in too soon, and just like. This is boxing, and like you said, it wouldn't bother him though, because Manny, he's a realist. He understands boxing, and getting knocked out is part of the game.
I don't know how you really feel this. I'll just make my comment and I'll let you respond to it. I just don't think when a fighter or an athlete loses the so-called killer instinct, you can get it back. I think it's like our vision, our hearing. There's no surgery, no pill, no Viagra for killer instinct. I just think once that part's gone, it's gone. However, that doesn't mean to me that you still can't win. I know you want him to have that eye of the tiger, but perhaps, what do you think of my statement? I don't think you can get that back.
Well, the thing is, I don't think you really can lose it. If a knockout comes, it comes. The thing is, you never go out there looking for a knockout, because if you do that, it's a formula for disaster. But the thing is, if it comes, it comes, and it just hasn't come right now. And the thing is, we're going to break Timothy Bradley down round by round, and if the knockout comes, it comes. If we win a 12-round decision, I have no problem with that, as long as he dominates every day, the 12 rounds like he did in the first fight.
I saw a lot on Manny. Manny, great guy, man, great person, big heart, and I just think that he's taking a lot of that Bible in his mind. Like it says, God told me not to knock him out. He got into that mode where, his beliefs are stronger than anything else now. He feels compassionate, like he says. I just think that once you start feeling compassionate for your opponents, you don't belong in boxing, because Manny is the fighter that people want to see for his devastating knockouts, for his devastating punch, And if we don't have that Manny Pacquiao again, then why would we want to see Manny again?
Is he the best Manny Pacquiao that you've worked with right now?
Probably not. He's not the 22-year-old Pacquiao that I work with. You get older. He's still got great speed. He got great power. He's heavier-handed now. He's at a higher weight division, of course, now also. But with age, we do slow down a little bit naturally, and it's part of life. So the thing is, I don't think he's like the same Manny Pacquiao of when he was 22 years old. But his work ethic is definitely just as good, though, and he pushes himself just as well. And he's still the most disciplined fighter I've ever met.
We train for the best Manny Pacquiao ever, and Tim Bradley doesn't take anybody light, and he's prepared 100%. So, I just hope that Manny Pacquiao brings that killer instinct that night, because if he doesn't, and Timothy really hurts him, really beats him, and then we're gonna have the comment of the fans like, Manny was on his way out, he was no longer, he's old. We don't want to hear that. We want to hear the comments of the people saying, okay, it was a great fight. Manny Pacquiao came and tried to knock out Bradley and he couldn't. We want to see that type of positive comments from the people, something that everybody's happy with.
You're the one guy I know I can get an honest answer from on this, and I know you're focused on Bradley Saturday night. But you and I have been in this game a long time, and if you could wave the magic wand and have Mayweather coming out to face your guy Saturday, would you rather have that?
But yeah, for sure. That's a fight that the whole world would want to see. It's a huge challenge for me to get my fighter ready for that fight. Mayweather's very good at what he does. If there was magic, we would have that fight. But unfortunately, right now we don't.
Look into that camera and tell the folks what's going to happen on Saturday night.
Saturday night, I invite everybody to tune in to see a great fight. It's going to be by far the best fight of the year, guaranteed.
Well, Pacquiao needs to be a little bit more aggressive this time and just fight 3 minutes of every round. And in the last fight, the first 6 rounds were kind of easy, so he kind of coasted through the last 6. And he can't do that in this fight. He has to be dominant of every round and clearly win every round one at a time and just pitch a shot out. And then if a knockout comes, it comes. But, Bradley's a tough guy. We know that. He's very resilient. He's got a great chin, and he's never been knocked out before. So if a knockout does come in, that'll be the icing on the cake.